Hey AP, in this video we're going to go over the string parse time and string format time methods. These are two methods from the datetime library and they're really the primary thing that you're going to be tested on when you take the MTA. We're going to talk about the format codes that are associated with it and the ones you need to focus on in your review, and then look at the behavior of the methods obviously. So let's get started. One thing that you will want to do before you get started with this process yourself and doing some review is taking a look at the datetime documentation, which I've got over here on the right. You can find, whoa, hold on there. Okay, so you can find this by going to Google and typing in datetime Python, okay? And then it's located in this top link, which is the docs.python.org link. Okay, this is where we want to go. And once we're here, I want you to look for specifically this string format time and string parse time behavior. Now, you might see a little bit of time delta, but I would wager it's only going to be one question max, so you can look at it. But when we prepare for assessments like these, it's always best to focus on what we're going to see the most of, because that's going to have the highest impact on our score in the end. And unlike real life, when we take an assessment, we're just trying to get the highest score possible. So, yeah, this is what you want to look at, and this is where I'm finding this stuff. You can use it as a resource for yourself. Let's go ahead and get started with some examples. In this example, we're going to imagine that we are creating an appointment scheduler for a traveling clown. I thought this was ridiculous enough to get your attention, and practical enough so that it still has like a real-world application that we can identify with. When I think about an appointment scheduler, I think about something that, might say, hey, here's a reminder text that you've got an appointment on this day, or I might get like a calendar object that I can put into my phone to set an appointment. You guys know what I'm talking about. You have appointments for things, I'm sure. You use your phone's calendar, right? Let's get started. So when we're talking about, and this is going to be, first of all, we're going to look at the string format time method, also called strftime. Okay, what's the first thing we need to do? Well, we need to have the datetime library in order to do anything. So we're going to say from datetime import datetime. I've told you before, I think that's the strangest library syntax in history. Okay, what are we going to do next? Well, we are going to say we have a datetime object. So let's create a datetime object. So let's say clown appointment will be datetime, and we're going to say this will be 2020 0925. Well, what is today? 23. We'll just do that. Okay, let's see if this works. We might get an error. Okay, we get an error that says you cannot do the leading 0. So let's do 2029-23. Okay, great. So now if we say clown appointment, we see that we have a datetime object with a date of 9/23. So let's do clown appointment dot year dot day dot month. Okay, it's important to note that this is a datetime object and that we have attributes. This is an instance of a datetime class. Okay, so we have attributes we can access about this datetime object. Why is it valuable to be able to access that information? Well, if we're actually doing some computation in the background, like we want to tell our traveling clown that he has 3 more days until his next appointment, we have to have a datetime object in order to do that. We could store it with just integers and things like that, but that becomes very complicated. We'd have to have a variable that's like, well, I mean, we sort of do, but we would have to design like a very complicated and overwrought or too big program to really capture that well. We use classes to represent real-world objects just like time, and this is a great example of using a class to represent a real-world object, so there's some bonus knowledge for you. Okay, but here's the issue, is when we say like print clown appointment, let's see what we get. Okay, so we get a sort of string representation of this, but maybe it's not the sort of information we want to share with our clown. Maybe our clown really wants to be able to see like the actual day of the week, right? And we can't do that. We can't say from this, we have no way of doing that from the datetime object, okay? So the purpose of the string format time method is to take this very valuable date time data and turn it into something that can be used as a representation of a date that is possibly more human friendly. And then %b, which is be the month's name. So let's see if this will run. It looks like it did. So let's see, clown appointment string. Perfect. So Wednesday, the 23rd of September, and then we could say a year. And I know this is maybe a little weird, but it's working. So let's see, %y. Let's do this again. We'll say clown appointment string one more time. Okay, cool. So this is something that we could say, like, you know, hey clown, your next appointment is on. And then what do? Well, we can format in our clown appointment string. Clown appointment string. So now, there we go. Cool. Hey clown, your next appointment is on Wednesday, the 23rd of September, 2020. So why would I do this? Like, why do I create this string like this? Well, because if you think about it, we don't want to have to go in and program every single time this clown has an appointment that we have to do this. We want like a template or a blueprint from which we can derive future strings. And if we were really building this program, we would add in some if statements that say things like if it ends in a 3, we're going to end it with RD. If it ends with 1, we'll end it with an ST. All that kind of stuff. So we say 23rd or 21st, right? But this is a very legitimate way that we would build some kind of application that could create an appointment reminder. And create these string reminders, right? These are human readable strings, and that's the purpose of string format time, is to take the very useful computational object of date time and turn it into a human usable thing that the computer doesn't really care about. The computer doesn't care too much about strings, okay? All right, so I'm going to end this here, and in the next video, we will look at string parse time. String. So we'll say clown appointment string, so that we know these are very different things, okay? So I will say clown appointment, that's my object. That object has a string format time method. All right, and how am I going to format this time? Well, let's go over and look at our options. Okay, so we have lots of options for how we are going to format this time. Let's say we want to show it in the most human readable way, which is a month's name, and a day, and a, let's see, we don't have any time, so we don't have to worry about time, and we can do, maybe we can do a year as well. So let's look here. Let's say that our string format time is going to be percent. We'll do the full day, so we'll say %A, Sunday, and then we give it, okay, so this is going to be like, or what is today? Today's Wednesday, so the Wednesday, the day of the month, the 31, this is going to look a little weird, the 31, or it's going to be the 23 of, what month is it? B. Okay, so I'm taking %A, which is the full name. I'm saying %D, which is the day of the month, as a 0 padded decimal number.